welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and this is Stitched Up. How are we all doing? It's Saturday and I thought I would come on and have a little weekly catch up with you, find out if you've had a really good week of sewing as I have. I've had a great week, if I'm honest, and yeah, thought we could just catch up this Saturday afternoon because I didn't get a chance to do a Friday sews yesterday. And I thought it would be nice to catch up before I start on a little bit of sewing that I have planned for this afternoon. So I've had a really busy week as usual. I've only had one day off during the week this week, which I know those of you that work full time will probably say, I've not had one day off yet. Today's my first day off. But yes, I normally don't work Wednesdays and Thursdays, but I did work Thursday this week. And so I only had Wednesday off, but I did get a little bit of sewing done, and you can see something on my mannequin behind me which we'll chat to you about during today's vlog. But I'll start with what I'm wearing. So I am wearing the Naya Tee again by Tammy Handmade. This is in a gorgeous cotton jersey that I got a few months ago. It might even be coming up to a year ago actually now, from gorgeous Andrea at the Beyond the Pink door. So this came in one of the subscription boxes with another cotton jersey as well. And the ribbing I used from my stash, and yeah, I turned it on the bias, this fabric, so that the stripe went diagonally because I just thought that that would be quite cute and I really like it. So I've dragged this out of my drawers today to put on, and I'm wearing it with some ready to wear trousers. Now I know these don't really go at all, but I picked these gorgeous linen trousers, if you can see them. Really nice texture. I picked these up from a charity shop the other day. They're originally from Marks and Spencer's, so they've got like elasticated waist with a drawstring, and they're a little bit big on the waist, but the drawstring obviously helps to sort of pull everything in. But yeah, they are a Marks and Spencer's linen trouser, and they were £3.50, which I thought was an absolute bargain. So I don't have a lot of luck with charity shops, if I'm honest, because the ones in our local town don't tend to have a great deal of nice things. It tends to be a lot of, I think it's stuff from like house clearances, that kind of thing. So when somebody's passed away and they're clearing elderly people's properties, so they tend to be filled with a lot of that kind of stuff, if I'm honest. A lot of polyester, a lot of not very nice things, if I'm honest, and certainly stuff that's not really my aesthetic. But I do occasionally stumble across the odd thing, and these were just perfect. So I snapped them up for £3.50, if I'm honest, and yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm wearing today. So on my mannequin behind me is a top that I made last Sunday night, and it did take me all night to make it. This is actually a zero waist pattern, and it is the zero waist dress, I think it's called, by Common Stitch. Is it the Willow dress? I think it might be the Willow. I really should have prepared for this a bit better, shouldn't I? But it is basically a dress that you just use your measurements to create from a single piece of fabric. But I just wanted to make it a top rather than a dress. So I cut it off at sort of high hip point, I guess. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. The actual measurements that you use to create the full dress, it's just one big rectangle, is your hip size times 2. And then you add on a seam allowance, and that actually creates the top bit as well. I must admit I was a little bit nervous about that because my hips are a lot bigger than my bust. We are talking, well, actually the difference between them is not as much as what it used to be. So I think now I have, what, 6 inches difference, whereas it used to be at one point it was about 14. So it was, yeah, it's changed a lot. However, I was still a bit nervous that this meant I would have a lot of fabric around the bust. And there is a lot of fabric around the bust, but I actually think it really works. So I'm super happy with it. But if I bring it closer, and I'll just, there we go. So basically what you've got is this is just a rectangle, and then you've got 2 little tie straps at the top, and you've also got these gorgeous ties at the side, which is in the waist casing to really cinch it in your waist. I haven't done that on the mannequin just because obviously that's how I'm showing you today, but you've got these casings that are made with bias tape that you create. I mean, I don't know how well you can see that, but it's created from the main fabric. So you make bias tape, and in fact, no, it's not bias tape at all. It's just tape. It's not cut on the bias. So, but it's like bias, but it's not cut on the bias, if that makes sense. So you cut lengths of the main fabric on the normal grain and then fold it in, if that makes sense, to create casings. So you've got one at the top, then it gives you the distance from the top one to the next one on the fabric, which I actually think is not enough distance. I have tried this on and I do really like it, but I haven't got pictures yet, so I will get some pictures and probably stick them up on Instagram at some point. But yeah, I think the distance from the top casing to the next casing, which is supposed to be under the bust, is only about 10 centimeters, and I don't think that's enough. Certainly not enough on me anyway. So in future, I would probably drop that a little bit more. But then you've got this next casing here, which is sort of it's lower rib cage, and then you've got your waist casing as well. And then, yeah, it's supposed to go into a full length dress, but I just wanted it as a top. This is the fabric that I bought from Boys when I was in York a couple of weeks ago. And my inspiration for this was originally a top that I'd seen in Zara that I wanted to sort of recreate, and I'm really happy with how this has turned out. I think it's gorgeous. I love these side ties as well, and the plan is to wear this with like little denim shorts or denim jeans, even if we ever get some nice enough weather to wear it, because it's just not been great. But yeah, really happy with it. This fabric was perfect. It's a bit like a cotton seersucker, sort of a cotton lawn cotton seersucker. It's a bit lighter weight than a lawn, but it's not as lightweight as a voile or voile, whatever you want to call it. And I really, really like this top. It was labour intensive, only from the perspective of you've got to create all these casings and then stitch them all on. They all have to be sort of stitched, double stitched, you know, along the edges all the way around on, you know, you've got 4 lots of casing to do. So it's quite time consuming doing all that. The top 3 casings all have elastic in. This one obviously just has a drawstring, which is just created with a, you know, you just create a loop for that, which is brilliant. But I really like it, really like it. There'll definitely be more, and I think I would probably be quite happy to make the dress version. I mean, it's not any more labour intensive really, you've just got a longer piece at the bottom. So yeah, really love it, very happy with that. But it meant I had a very late night finish on Sunday night, because it was midnight before I finally got that done and got to bed. So that is one of the items that I have made this week. And then the second, wherever it is, the second thing I made this week was totally off the cuff, and it was basically because Daphne, I think it's Daphne or Delphine, it's one of them anyway, who is the designer behind Just Patterns, released their new pattern this week, which is called the Inz Dress. I'm presuming it's pronounced Ines. I usually think Inez has a Z on the end, but this Inez has an S on the end. Anyway, this is an absolutely stunning summer dress. I fell in love with it when I saw it, and then when Jen Legg made hers, and her pattern matching and pattern placement was just incredible with the fabric that she used, I just thought I have to buy this pattern and make it. So I bought the pattern Wednesday morning, printed it out, stuck it together and made it on Wednesday. And the pattern is and the dress is here. I'm going to show you it in a minute because I'm going to put it on my mannequin, but I want to show you the inside of it first. So this is a fully lined, multi-panelled summer dress with thin shoulder straps. It's got a very sort of almost a square neckline, but not quite. There's no pockets in it. It's got an invisible centre zip at the back, and it's designed to be midi length. So there are lots and lots of panels for this. Now, she does say that you can get away with 2.5 meters of fabric, because she advises you to cut every panel out on the single layer rather than on the fold, if that makes sense, as in double folded, because that way you can make the most of your fabric. So I wanted to originally make this in a plain. I really fancied a plain red or a plain black, but I felt that it wouldn't be everyday wearable, if that makes sense. It would feel a little bit more sort of date night dress, or say if you're, you know, going off on a city break or something like that. And I wanted this dress to be something that I could just wear day to day. So I had a little hunt in my stash and I picked this fabric out, which originally I thought was non-directional. And then when I came to actually start cutting it out, realised it was directional. So it is a beautiful Lady McElroy fabric, which is why I'm showing it to you like this first. It's just like this floral sort of painterly style fabric, but it is directional. If I turn it upside down, so that is now the wrong way up, you can see the blooms, even though they're sort of watercolor blooms, they are actually upside down, whereas that's the right way up. So I ended up cutting this double layered, if that makes sense, rather than on the single layer as she advises, because I had loads of it. I had about 4 meters of it and I've still got a fair bit left. So the instructions are fantastic. She has 2 lots of instructions. So she has a very simple list of instructions, which are just numbered. So it's do this, do this, do this. And then she also has some that are in a bit more detail with pictures, which is fantastic if you need that. I found it, to be honest, absolutely fine. However, there's no separate pattern pieces for the lining. It is exactly the same pattern pieces as you use for your outer fabric. And I think there are 8 panels in total. And I just thought, do you know what? I don't want to have to cut out another 16 in total because it's 8 pattern pieces. So it's 16 panels. I thought I don't want to have to cut out all those panels again, just in lining fabric. And there is another reason for that. So when I chose my size, I remeasured myself for this pattern because obviously the top has to be super fitted. And I came out at a size 10, I think a 10 sort of bust and then waist and then graded out to a 12 hip. But obviously it's fit and flare. So I thought, you know what, I don't really need the size 12 hip, but I want to make the most of the swooshiness of the skirt. So I'll stay with that. So I started with the size 10 bust and waist and graded it out to a 12 hip. And then when I sewed it up, this is the main dress rather than the lining, and tried it on, I had lots of gaping around the neckline here and it was far too loose under the bust and around the waist. So I ended up having to pinch out all the little panels and spread out that pinching between them, if that makes sense. Just at the front, the back fitted fine, to get rid of some of that extra fabric that I had, extra ease. But the beauty of having a multi-panel dress means that you've got lots and lots of choice of where you pinch out that ease. So I just basically, what I did was I turned the dress inside out, tried it on, pinched everything out, re-sewed the bits that I needed to sew to make it much more fitted around the top, and then Bob's your uncle, it was done. Now, the only thing is, as I mentioned, with the lining, that was the reason why I didn't want to do that again with the lining, because I thought I don't need a multi-panelled lining. I'm not quite understanding why she didn't just do a completely separate lining that just fits the outer dress without having all those extra panels in. I just don't understand it, because it's not something you see from the outside. So I was thinking about this before I did it, and when I read through the instructions as well, she has a really different way of you attaching the lining to the outer that I've not used before, and that is, you, before you stitch around the neckline, you actually attach the lining to the centre back zip first. So I followed her instructions and ended up in a right tangle, if I'm honest, because you do that and then you have to do the neckline but leave the straps not tied, not stitched, should I say, and then you have to pull it all through. Then you have to turn out the top bit here, the shoulder seams, and stitch them together, and then you end up hand finishing those, which is fine, it all works, but it was a little bit complex, if I'm honest, and I found it really difficult to understitch because of that as well, so there is a little bit of the facing that is just peeping out a little bit. So when I'd read through all this, I sort of thought, you know what, I'm going to redraft this lining because I don't want to do that. And I didn't want the lining, I didn't want to use all that fabric on the lining, even though I had enough of this fabric left, because it was expensive. And I thought, I just want to use a plain white cotton underneath, which is what I've done. So I set about redrafting completely the lining, and I did it as just a front piece, cut on the fold, and 2 back pieces. And then I decided that the top bit, because of the thin shoulder straps, I was going to use the outer fabric for that, cut it off as if that's like a facing, and then attach the rest of the lining to it. So this is what I've ended up with. Now, it's not perfect. I'm going to just say that straight away, because the way I had to do this was I had to obviously construct the full outer dress first, make all those changes and pinch out all the excess to get the dress fit me. Plus I had to baste the shoulder seams, because you're not supposed to tie these, you're not supposed to stitch the shoulder seams at this point. So, but I had to do that so that I could try it on for fit and everything. So I just basted those. And then what I did then was I literally just traced around the front and traced around the back and used that to make my lining. So what I've ended up with the lining is I've ended up with this. So this is the dress inside out. And what you can see is obviously the facing fabric, the main fabric, is the top bit that's lined, which means that you can't really tell whether you're seeing the lining or the outer fabric. You know, sometimes how things move a little bit, and I'm really pleased that I did it that way, because I would not have wanted this white to be peeping through on the main fabric. And I have understitched it as far as I can, but it was really awkward to do. And as I say, there is a little bit that's peeping out, I think, when I wear it. Yeah, it's this side here. I don't know if you can see. Can you see how that bit is just falling forward? And I think I might have just got that a little bit twisted when I have stitched all this together. But yeah, so lining wise, it's like this. Now I didn't quite, when I say I self-drafted this, I mean, we are talking rudimentary self-drafting here. But yeah, I mean, look at my side seams of my facing. It doesn't match up inside, but you know, I'm not an expert at it. What can I say? I just did my best. And anyway, so it doesn't end there. The trauma of this does not end there. It wasn't traumatic, really. I'm just, you know, I'm being a little bit over dramatic there. So bearing in mind, this dress, when it wasn't lined, fully fitted me perfectly. I did my lining. As I say, I traced around the dress. I did it inside out, so I included the seams and everything. Tried it on, couldn't zip it up. It was too tight. Now I know that it's not the outer dress that was too tight, because that fit me fine. And I thought it's the lining is too tight. So what I had to do, because I'd only used 1 centimetre seams as well, which is what the main dress uses, I had to really take those in narrowly at the side seam. So I had to unzip all the stitching of the side seams of the lining and the centre where it was stitched to the centre back zip as well, and take out as much as I possibly could on that lining, because I thought the only other thing I can do otherwise is remove the lining altogether and just leave the facing around the top, and then I know it would fit me. But I thought, you know, I would like to have this line because it just gives a little bit more drama to the dress and a bit more structure to it. So I ended up doing that. I took out as much as I could of those seam allowances of the lining that I'd created. You know, having done all this, I should have probably just gone with it in the beginning, shouldn't I, and pinched out the excess I needed in the original lining, and then it might have just worked. But anyway, that's what I did, and now it fits. I still need Martin just to help me get the last little bit up of the zip at the back, but it fits and it looks amazing. So all I have to do now is level the hem of both the lining underneath, because I haven't levelled it yet. You can see some bits there, look, and the main dress, and hem it, and then it's done. Anyway, I'm going to stick it on my mannequin so you can see what it looks like. So here she is. Here is the Inz dress, and I absolutely love it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I did add 2.5 inches to the length, which I needed to, because I think this is drafted for a height of about 1.65 meters, something like that. So I added a good couple of inches, well, 2.5 as I say. And yeah, you've got all these sort of panels. I think you can just see them coming in here. Look, there's the sort of main side panel, and then you've got one there. You've got your front panel, same at that side. And then if I turn her round, we've got the same at the back. Now my zip is not fully invisible, and this is because obviously I had to make those changes to the lining. So I've left the zip like that. I mean, it goes, it's fine. I bought a teal coloured zip, 22-inch, to work with this dress, which I think works fine. So, you know, it's okay. It's absolutely fine. But I absolutely love it. I think it is so gorgeous. I love this fabric so much. And I love the thin straps. I love how it comes into this sort of semi-square neckline. It is so, so beautiful. Really, really love it. Really happy with it. I just need to get it finished. Absolutely love it. It was a fairly quick sew. I think sewing up the main dress, once you've got everything cut out, that takes the longest, to be honest. As long as you put all your notches in the right place, make sure you do cut your notches or mark your notches, however you do that on your main fabric pieces, then it's very quick to put together, to be honest, because it's just sewing straight lines. It's great. But yeah, just doing the lining, I think for the future, I need to add on an inch, definitely, a good half inch either side of the lining that I have created, the lining pieces that I've created for this, and then I will have enough fabric for it to fit me properly without having to mess about with all the seams again like I did with this one. But I'm really happy with it. It's gorgeous. I just need to get it finished. Talking of getting things finished, the Vogue dress that I made a couple of weeks ago, I still haven't finished that. It still needs a bit lopping off the bottom and the ruffle hem putting on. And the reason I've not done that, should I say, is because the weather's been rubbish to wear it anyway. So that's that. So yeah, that's where I am up to with my sewing this week, because as I say, I just wanted to make that dress because when I'd seen Jen's and seen some of the other tester versions of it, I love it so much. Still want to make a red version, and I'd probably want to make a black one as well. Probably out of linen for both, if I'm honest, because I love linen. It's one of my favourite fabrics, and I do have some black and red in my stash. So we'll see. Anyway, moving on, a few bits and pieces that have come in to the sewing room this week and a load of stuff that's gone out. I have destashed loads this week, which is great because my cubby holes in here are looking a lot tidier. I don't have as much fabric lying around in here as what I had. I had a really good tidying sort out in here the other day, and I'm starting on upstairs again now. So I'm going through the wardrobe that is full of fabric, picking out what I'm going to destash and what I'm going to keep from there. So we're getting there slowly. I have just listed a load more today. I think a lot of it has sold pretty quickly, to be fair, but this is how bad it's got. My postman said to me the other day when he came to collect the destash to go out this week, he said, "Would you like me to bring some sacks?" And I said, "That would be really nice, thank you." So he turned up with these for me the other day, and there are literally loads in here. It's rather embarrassing, actually, because I think he thinks I've got a little business going. And, you know, this is just my own personal stash that I am selling, which is... Anyway, moving on. So, fabrics that have come in this week. You may remember last week, I think it was, that I was chatting in my Friday sews about the gorgeous Becky and Katie, who both made dresses out of that beautiful fabric that they got from Walthamstow Fabrics and Fabricland, respectively. Now, I think I mentioned that I'd ordered it from Fabricland along with a load of other fabrics, and then they got in touch with me to say that the one that I actually really wanted was sold out. Well, two of you lovely, lovely viewers, Pamela was one of them, and I can't remember the name of the other one. I'm so sorry. It might have been Karen, messaged me separately to say they had found it elsewhere on Lee Mills Fabrics. Now, I've never heard of them before, but I went on straight away and bought it. And I was waiting for them to email me to say, "I'm really sorry, but this fabric you bought was out of stock," but it turned up. It has turned up, and I am utterly delighted. And this is what I am going to be sewing up this afternoon. So this is it here. I just love this so much. It's this jersey with all these sort of gorgeous colours on and a bit of a sort of geometric-y type print. I really, really like this. So this was $6.99. It was for £5 a metre on Fabricland, but you know, is what it is. This was $6.99 a metre, so I got 3 meters of it, and yeah, it is very polyestery. That's the only thing. But you know, I love this print so much, I had to go for it. So I am going to make up the Edie dress by Seamwork. I'm a member of Seamwork. I have been for years, to be honest. It's not very often I make one of their patterns, but I wanted to originally I was thinking of the Nico by True Bias, but it is quite a high neckline, even the sleeveless version. And I don't know, there was just something that was putting me off making that pattern in this fabric. So I was looking online to see if there was something else very similar, and I found the Edie by Seamwork. I'll put a picture of it in here, and I think this is going to be perfect. So it's still got a little bit of a raised neckline, but it's got a slightly elongated shoulder, but still sleeveless, fairly fitted, midi length, and I think that's just going to look amazing in this. So I'm going to make that this afternoon. Shouldn't take me too long. And then I am loving all the stripe fabrics I'm seeing at the minute. I don't have a lot of stripes in my wardrobe, if I'm honest, but I've seen quite a number of ready to wear wide leg trousers, a bit like what I'm wearing today, made in stripes, and I'm really here for it, if I'm honest. So I was having a look online, as you do, the other day, and then I saw somebody on Instagram, I can't remember who it was now, Beth somebody I think it was, she'd made some gorgeous trousers in a striped linen from Merchant and Mills. Now, when I went on and had a look and saw the price of this stuff, I sort of did a sharp intake of breath. And they had two colourways of it. I think Beth made her trousers in the lilac and orange colourway, or was it lilac and pink? I'm not quite sure. But I actually saw this one, which is pink and orange rather than the lilac and orange. And I just loved it. So I ordered 3 meters of it. And when you see the price, I'm just going to leave, I'm not telling you the price, I'll just leave the link to it down below so you can go and go, oh, when you have a look at it. But it's just delicious. Look at it. This came yesterday, I think literally the day after I'd ordered it. So yeah, I've bought 3 meters of this to make myself some wide leg, simple elasticated waist trousers. I might do the Saguaro, but I will have to retwirl those because I haven't made them since I have lost my weight, and yeah, I need to play about with that pattern again. But I got 3 meters because what I thought was I could make some trousers and hopefully have enough left just to make a little top, just a little strappy top to go with them. I really like the thought of that. So I mean, it's just delicious. It's absolutely delicious. Merchant Mills, yeah, I know it's expensive stuff, but oh, it's just gorgeous. So that one's come in this week. And then I also bought these two fabrics from the Fabric Beehive. Now, this is a lovely girl called Rosie who has just set up the Fabric Beehive. I think she's only been going a month or so. And this last week, she's been doing loads of promotions. And there was stories that was shared by Sam, who is Sequin Girly, had shared one of their stories. And that's how I came across her, that she'd got 20% off everything until, I'm not sure what date, to be fair. It might have already gone, so if it has, I'm really sorry. So I just went over and had a look, and I noticed that she'd got Lisa Tailor fabrics, and she'd got a code for 20% off, which is just incredible. So I bought 2 of them. The first one is this one, and it's like this tie-dye. It's just beautiful. It's like, it reminds me of sort of like the Aurora Borealis. I just think it's just such a beautiful print. This is Viscose, Ecovero Viscose. So I got 3 meters of this with 20% off. Oh, it's just delicious. And then the other one I got is another Ecovero Viscose, Elisa Tailor one. And it's this one. So it's the peaches and orange floral. It's really beautiful. I am thinking of making the fleur dress in this by Fabric Godmother. Probably sleeveless version. I don't know. What do you reckon? Let me know. But it's beautiful. Love that. So they are the 3 fabrics that have come in this week. I mean, I make it sound like I haven't sort of deliberately gone on and ordered these and bought them, don't I? These fabrics have just turned up in my sewing room this week. I've also got my gorgeous labels from Laura at the Specky Seamstress. So I'm going to show those now. This is part of the label collective, which is the subscription, the monthly subscription. So if you do subscribe to Laura's label subscription, look away now, because I'm going to show the labels that are in the subscription this month. If you haven't got yours yet, you'll want to look away now and come back in about a minute. Okay, so here are the labels, and it says it doesn't have to be perfect. So you've got some little floral labels. I love those. And then the seam ripper ones as well. I've been using that a lot this week. So they're gorgeous. And then while we're on the subject of labels, I have bought more from Rachel at the Cosy Club Handmade, because she's got a load of new designs in. And I just went mad, if I'm honest. She had a discount code off as well, I think. So I got these ones, the sausage dog ones, which I thought would be nice for makes for my daughter because she's sausage dog mad. I've got these ones which say, I made this, therefore I can do anything. Hopefully you can see that. These ones which say, you look blooming lovely. They're really cute. These ones which say, hello summer, and lovingly handmade, although it is currently black out there and raining heavily and cold. And then these ones which say, cute, I can't read it. You'll be able to read it because I've not got my specs on. Whatever they say are lovely. And these ones, I've got some more lovingly handmade ones there, look. So yeah, they are the labels that have come in this week. I haven't bought anything else. I think that's plenty, isn't it? So next on my list is going to be the Edie dress. I'm going to do that this afternoon. And then I am also going to make myself a pair of jeans. Because if you watched my Saturday weekender, sewing weekender, no, it wasn't a sewing week, it was a stitched up weekender. Gosh. Stitched up weekender last weekend. If you watched that, you will have noticed I was wearing my Dawn jeans by Megan Nielsen on the Saturday, because I can finally get into them again. I made these about 4 years ago, and it's been one of those, you know, one of those things that when you are on a weight loss journey where you've got that one item of clothing that you think, when I can get into that again, I'll be happy. Well, that's exactly what happened to me last weekend. So yeah, I can get those back on now. So I want to remake them. And I have some denim that I pulled out of my stash. It's a rigid denim. Let me just grab it and I'll show you. So here we are. It is I know it's coming up quite black on screen, but it's not. It is an indigo. So this is a rigid indigo denim. I can't remember where I got this from. I actually think it might have been Pound Fabrics. It's really nice. And it's really dark. And I chose this out of my stash, pulled it out of my stash, because this is what I thought this top would look so nice with. So I am going to make the Dawns again in this denim. And I'm not going to make any changes to the pattern that I used last time. I think I did make some little alterations, but the fit is perfect still. So yeah, I am going to make those, and that's going to be next on the list. I know, I've not made jeans for a long time, and I think when you find a pattern that works, why change it? So yeah, really happy to be having another go at that. And I think that's about it. It's a short one this week, guys. Short and sweet, but still loads to share with you. So I hope you've enjoyed just catching up with me again this week. I have still got to edit the self-drafted top vlog that I was talking to you about last week or the week before, that I made to go with the lemon skirt for the So Fruity challenge. And I've also been doing another little project this week around ice dyeing as well, which I am putting together a vlog about that, because I've been experimenting with ice dyeing with some fabrics in my stash as well, and I'm really excited to show you the results of that. So watch this space for that, but enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope you get some sewing time, and I will be back with you really soon. Take care. Bye.